This is Optimal Living Daily Relationships, episode 159, 10 Things to Remember Before You Take Things Personally, Part 1, by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp. And I'm Joss Marie, your host and personal narrator, right here on OLD Relationships. Welcome to the show where I bring you content featuring dating, parenting, and pretty much everything in between. The creator and producer of this show, Justin Mullick, hand selects the articles, and with permission from the authors, I have the honor of narrating them to you every Monday through Friday, just like an audiobook or audio blog. Today, I have part 1 of a 2-part post by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp. It's all about ways to help you avoid taking things too personally in life. So don't forget to come on back again tomorrow to hear part 2. That'll be episode 160. Also, I wanted to give one final reminder to anyone who would like their name to be submitted for the book raffle we'll be doing tomorrow. We do a drawing on the first of every month and give away a book to a random person on the mailing list. So head on over to oldpodcast.com to sign up. And with that, let's hear part 1 of Marc's post and start optimizing your life. 10 Things to Remember Before You Take Things Personally, Part 1, by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp. Let me share 3 quick stories and some life-changing lessons with you. 1. This morning at a train stop near the hospital, a man and his 3 young kids got on. The kids were loud and completely out of control, running from one end of the train car to the other. An annoyed passenger sitting next to me looked over at the man and asked, "Is there a reason you're letting your kids go nuts right now?" The man looked up with tears in his eyes and said, "The doc just told me their mother isn't going to make it. Sorry, I'm just trying to think before we all sit down at home to talk about this." 2. 2 of my ex-coworkers actually laughed at me last year when I told them I dreamed of opening my own hair salon. When I spoke with you and Angel on a coaching call that same day, Angel said something like, quote, "We've known quite a few people who went after their dreams and succeeded. One thing they all had in common was they got laughed at in the process." End quote. That advice really pushed me forward, and I'm proud to say I opened my salon almost 6 months ago, and business is really taking off. But to think I almost didn't do it. I almost took my ex-coworker's negativity to heart. And 3. Today, one of my regular customers, a really grumpy elderly man who has been eating in our diner every morning for the better part of 5 years, left me $1,000 in cash for his $7 breakfast. Alongside the cash, he left a small note that read, quote, "Thank you, Christine. I know I haven't been the brightest smile in your life, but your smile and hospitable service over the years gave me something to look forward to every morning after my wife passed away. I wanted to say thank you. I'm moving 8 hours down the road this afternoon to live with my son and his family. May the rest of your life be magical." End quote. These stories have been transcribed with permission from coaching sessions we've recently conducted with 3 of our course students. And if there's one thing these student stories have in common, it's the importance of not taking things too personally. The father on the train wasn't deliberately trying to annoy other passengers. He was thinking through one of the hardest realities of his life. Those ex-coworkers weren't really laughing heartlessly. They were simply acting from within the boundaries of their own limited visions. And that grumpy elderly customer was just a humble, heartbroken man. In each story, the subject's words and actions were all about them, not others. And while the people around them might take their annoying, naysaying, grumpy behavior personally, there's nothing personal about it. Think about it. How often have you taken things too personally? If you're anything like the rest of us, and that's okay, it's probably been quite often. But why? Why do we always take things personally? There are quite a few viable and valid answers to the question of why we take things personally. But the one Angel and I have found to be most common through a decade of one-on-one coaching with our core students is the tendency we all have of putting ourselves at the center and seeing everything, every event, conversation, circumstance, and so on, from the viewpoint of how it relates to us. And this can have all kinds of adverse effects, from feeling hurt when other people are rude, to feeling sorry for ourselves when things don't go as planned, to doubting ourselves when we aren't perfect. Of course, we are not really at the center of everything. That's not how the world works. It just sometimes seems that way to us. Let's take a quick look at a few examples. Someone storms into the room in a bad mood, huffing and puffing, and addresses us in a very rude way. Immediately, we think to ourselves, "What's going on here? I don't deserve to be treated like this. They should know better." And we are left agitated, offended, and angry. But the truth is, the other person's behavior has very little to do with us. They got mad at something outside the room, and now they're reactively venting their frustrations. We just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. This reality doesn't justify their rude behavior, but it needs to be consciously acknowledged so we don't waste all our mental energy positioning ourselves at the center of the situation and taking everything personally. Now, let's assume for a moment that a person's actions actually do seem to relate to us directly. We inadvertently did something that annoyed someone, and now they're reacting very rudely to us. A situation like this might seem personal, but is it really? Is the magnitude of their rude reaction all about us and the one thing we did to trigger them? No, probably not. It's mostly just a statement about the other person's reactions, snap judgments, anger issues, and expectations of the universe. Again, we're just a small piece of a much longer story. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, 10 Things to Remember Before You Take Things Personally, by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp. Thank you to Marc for letting us share this post. I'll admit that I take things too personally on occasion and will definitely be keeping these tips in mind for future reference. And again, to have your name submitted for our book giveaway tomorrow, just head on over to oldpodcast.com to sign up for our mailing list. We do a drawing on the 1st of every month, so good luck. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And remember to come on back again tomorrow to hear part 2, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Marc and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.